New Thought Media Network, and the Universal.
New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network.
Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. And now the good news. I'm Barbara Jean, your host, and I'm delighted that you're here this evening with me. And let us begin. Well, a bride goes viral on her wedding night while she's dancing while going through a cystic fibrosis treatment. Yes. Well, a bride who was filmed dancing at her wedding reception while undergoing treatment for cystic fibrosis has gone viral. CF doesn't stop no party was Danica Evans' opinion when she posted the video to her TikTok account, where she was doing her best to dance while wearing a special oscillation vest with a nebulizer stuck between her teeth. 20-year-old Danica married her fiance, Bo Evans, 23, last June in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. 20 might seem young in this day and age, but cystic fibrosis has the effect of altering the perception of time among patients, particularly regarding how much of it is left. Parents of children born with cystic fibrosis, a genetic disease that leaves the patient extra susceptible to lung infections, are often cautioned not to grow too close to them. Mortality from the disease is high among children, but many, like Danica, make it to adulthood. In Danica's case, a twice-a-day treatment involves a nebulizer and high-frequency chest wall oscillation vest to help open her lungs, which can often become clogged with overly thick mucus-like secretions. The bride-to-be did her treatment combo the morning of the wedding and expected she might have to do it during the reception that evening. Knowing that I had to do the treatments the night of my wedding, doing them on the dance floor with everyone I love surrounding me seemed like the best option, Danica told People magazine. While energy was high, we had the time of our lives dancing the night away while I was shaking. The video of her dancing amassed 2.2 million views and thousands of positive comments praising her bravery and attitude. As a CF patient myself, I feel so much joy seeing other CF people sharing the happy parts of their lives, one comment said. How cool is that? She's making the best of a not great situation, but she's making the best of it. I love that. Well, here's a miracle story. Told she has days to live, mom gets a miracle second chance. When Monica McFarlane said goodbye to her children, she truly believed it was the end. After 15 years of living with heart failure, 9 daily medications, multiple hospitalizations, 2 LVAD placements, and even emergency brain surgery following a heart attack, the odds had finally caught up with her. Diagnosed at just 37 years old, Monica had fought relentlessly. But by 2023, after being evaluated at multiple transplant centers across the country, her family received devastating news. There were no options left. I had 2 days to 2 weeks to live to say my goodbyes, Monica said. Because of high levels of antibodies in her body, she wasn't eligible for a traditional heart transplant. Hospice care was being discussed. Her family was preparing for the unimaginable. And then everything changed with an unexpected question. Have you ever heard of the HALT procedure? HALT, which stands for Heart After Liver Transplant, is an innovative surgical strategy where patient receives a liver transplant first, followed by a heart from the same donor. The liver essentially acts like a protective shield, absorbing harmful antibodies and reducing the risk that the new heart will be rejected. For Monica, it was hope at a moment when hope no longer seemed possible. Dr. Victor Pretorius, surgical director of heart transplants at Emory, explained the high stakes. We had an excellent cross match, but we knew the heart would be rejected if we didn't follow this strategy. It was a big undertaking. The operation was extraordinary, and it took 16 hours to complete. The biology is beautiful. A combined heart and liver transplant has protected properties in the long term and ultimately gives the patient hope and a future. The HALT approach had only been developed in 2023. Monica had already been denied at every other center for doctors of the doctors she contacted. Despite sending her to multiple centers across the country, she was denied transplant at every one. Our only option was to send her to hospice care for end-of-life measures. She was mentally preparing for this when the team came together and said, let's do this. A 16-hour surgery was a success, marking the first time the HALT procedure was performed in Georgia and only the second time in the United States. Just 3 months later, Monica is not only alive, she's thriving. It feels good to laugh again, to feel like myself again, she said. She describes the emotional turnaround as nothing short of miraculous. Oh my gosh, I was at the lowest point in my life, telling my boys goodbye and my husband and my mom to the highest of highs. I had a second chance, a third chance, a fourth chance. I am still grateful. I thank God every day. My faith has grown so strong and my trust in Him, because without God, I wouldn't be here right now. In an incredible twist, Monica's own liver, structurally healthy, was able to be donated to another patient with heart failure, potentially saving a second life in the process. How good is that for good news? I love it. Well, we're going to take a short little commercial break, and then we'll be back in just a minute. You're watching And Now the Good News here on the New Thought Media Network. Don't go away. Well, we're back. A Chicago mailman recently, his mail delivery turned into a moment that touched millions. Levante Harvey, a mail carrier known on his route for singing as he works, had no idea that one heartfelt gesture would change his life. In doorbell camera footage that's now been viewed around the world, Harvey walks up to a home and says warmly, "This is for you, Grandma," before launching into a song. The performance was meant to brighten the day of a grandmother who had recently lost her husband of 50 years. The song lifted her spirits so much that she shared the video with her granddaughter, Whitney Cumbo, and Cumbo decided to post it online. She added a touching caption over the video. "My grandmother lost her husband of 50 years, and the mailman is her daily dose of life. You are appreciated." How beautiful is that? I'll tell you, there's so many wonderful people in the world. Within 2 weeks of being posted, the clip racked up millions of views and over 10,000 comments. What started as a simple act of kindness quickly became a viral sensation. I didn't expect for it to go viral, Harvey said, explaining that singing is something he regularly does along his route. For him, it's much more than music. For me, singing isn't just music. It's about ministry. It's about spreading hope and joy. Well, bravo, Harvey. You did it, and you did it really, really well. That is awesome. All right. Well, this 89-year-old fell, and luckily, a neighbor's dog heard his cries. Go figure. Earlier this month, McKinney stepped outside his home on Manitoulin Island here in Ontario around 4:30 p.m. to move his snowblower. That's when he slipped and fell. He tried to stand up but couldn't. The effort quickly wore him out. Eventually, I started getting worried, McKinney told CTV News. So he did the only thing he could think of. As a last resort, I started yelling for help, he said. Those calls didn't go unheard. Next door, a 7-year-old rescue dog named Rosa suddenly began barking at the door, something her owner, Linda Gilchrist, knew wasn't normal. She went to the door and she barked, which was unusual. I mean, there was nobody there, and so I got my boots on and her leash and we went outdoors. As soon as we got outside, I heard a call for help. McKinney, who served as a police officer for more than 30 years, said this was the first time he's found himself on the other side of an emergency. He's grateful Rosa was listening. I brought her some cookies the next day, he said with a smile. She's a lifesaver. I think so anyway, he says. How sweet is that? I'll tell you, those dogs, they can do amazing things sometimes. All right, well, moving right along. Our next story is about Southwest Airlines. And, it's fascinating to me how, some people just go above and beyond. And I'm so excited when they do, because it makes such a big difference in the lives of so many people. And this is one of those times. This young lad noticed that there was something in the manual that really he said it's wrong. This can't be right. This is wrong. And so he showed it to the pilot, and the pilot explained things to him, and they got through it. But they were able to put him up in the cockpit. They turned around and had him share some information. They talked to him about the airplane, and he got to spend lots of time touring their plant. So way to go, Southwest, for surprising a 5-year-old and doing an amazing job in the process. Bravo. Okay, moving right along. Stanford cures type 1 diabetes in mice without insulin or immune suppression. Yeah, sounds interesting. In an experiment exceeded scientists' expectations, mice had their type 1 diabetes cured through a double transplant method. Additionally, there was no host rejection of one of the two types of transplanted cells, and the immune system didn't attack the other, resulting in a diabetes cure without any side effects. Obviously, caveats must be drawn from a mouse model such as this, but the results have supercharged the team's determination to try and see if they can replicate the success in humans. The possibility of translating these findings into humans is very exciting, said Sung Kim, MD, an multidisciplinary professor at Stanford University. The key steps in our study, which result in animals with a hybrid immune system containing cells from both the donor and the recipient, are already being used in the clinic for other conditions. We believe this approach will be transformative for people with type 1 diabetes or other autoimmune diseases, as well as for those who need solid organ transplants. Unlike onset or type 2 diabetes, type 1 is an autoimmune disorder that manifests in the patient's immune system attacking their own islet cells located in the pancreas and responsible for producing the hormone insulin, which helps control blood glucose levels. This new study from Stanford Medicine saw type 1 diabetic mice receive a transplant of islet cells and blood stem cell from a healthy mouse. This combination proved to be virtually magical, and for 6 months, the treated mice needed no insulin injection nor medication to suppress graft versus host disease, an immune system response to transplantation that can be debilitating. Stanford University described the result of the trial as particularly exciting because the pancreatic islet cells from the healthy donor have two targets on their backs. The first is that they're transplanted cells from a different organism. And the second is that they are the type of cell that the autoimmune disorder spontaneously destroys. Just in human type 1 diabetes, the diabetes that occurs in these mice results from an immune system that spontaneously attacks the insulin-producing beta cells in pancreatic islets. We need to not only replace the islets that have been lost, but also reset the recipient's immune system to prevent ongoing cell destruction. Creating a hybrid immune system accomplishes both goals. Using a pre-transplant preparatory duct used in a previous study of the same kind, published by the team in 2022, the mixture of transplanted islet cells and hematopoietic stem cells created an immune system of mixed origin that suddenly snapped back into good working order and prevented type 1 diabetes in 19 out of 19 mice, while only 9 out of 9 mice who had suffered from long-term type 1 diabetes had their disease cured. Yeah, so if that can be translated to the humans, wow. So there is some stuff going on that we can get very excited about. All right, the NFL. You know, it's interesting that when you consider how many people go to a stadium and watch a game like the Super Bowl, there's going to be a fair bit of trash. Well, the NFL delivers at net zero Super Bowl with substantial recycling of trash and other materials. Yeah, good job. Well, Bad Bunny may have reimagined the highlight of Super Bowl post-mortem. GNN got in touch with the event organizers to unwrap a little of the full-time good behind halftime's bad. In partnership with the sustainable resource management company NG Impact, the NFL worked with national and local partners in the Bay Area to ensure that carbon emissions from the event were offset. All stadium waste was recycled and stadium power was green and renewable. Angie also helped organize the NFL's sustainability operations during the last Super Bowl in New Orleans, and a case study on the efforts shows how one of the biggest commercial events in the country can actually have a very small footprint. 250 tons of materials, including trash, but also reusable items, were recovered, representing a 5-fold increase from the previous Super Bowl. Well, with funding from the NFL going to purchase offsets for approximately 3,000 additional tons of CO2. While such precise figures aren't yet available for this year's event at Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara, California, early indications are that similar successes are achieved. Levi's Stadium already possess a 3-color waste bin system the entire complex, and NG ensured the staff would be on hand to answer any questions attending fans might have about where to throw their trash. NG also organized a fantastic material collection drive far beyond just paper, metal, plastic, and GNN got in touch with Ryan Sklar, Director of Sustainable Mobile Operations at NG, to hear what was going on behind the scenes. Well, this year we donated fence mesh that lined the stadium to parks and recreation departments. Leftover carpets from tailgate parties were given to schools to repurpose as carpet squares in classrooms, and wayfinding signage with blank back sides was given to artists as it provides a great canvas for new projects. In addition, sometimes materials that are not branded or unique to the event, like scaffolding, can be left and reused for future events. Some banner holders will stay in place at Levi Stadium to support FIFA signage for the World Cup this summer. Schlar said that this effort was also ongoing in New Orleans last year and that donations look different for each event depending on what community organizations are in need of. We also try to work with and prioritize organizations that can offer a large communal benefit. That's pretty good news to be able to manage all of that garbage. 210 tons. Well, we had a lunar eclipse this week. I don't know if you got to see it, but I missed it, unfortunately. So there was a total lunar eclipse Tuesday morning. The moon blood red, and for most of North America, Australia, and East Asia, we were able to view it, provided our skies were clear. The full moon in March will appear orange-red in the early morning sky as a result of a total lunar eclipse, and North Americans are positioned almost perfectly to see it. Unfortunately, I couldn't see it. I don't know if you were able to, but it's pretty remarkable regardless. Sometimes called a blood moon in the media for the coloration, it should probably be called a coral or a jasper moon because it doesn't look like any blood you've ever seen. The eclipse peaks in the early morning hours on Tuesday, March 3rd, while totally occurring between 6:04 to 7:02 a.m. U.S. Eastern Time, 3:04 to 4:02 a.m. Pacific Time. The explanation for why the moon turns orange-red comes from how the light from the sun breaches the atmosphere. Sunlight causes a full color spectrum, and different wavelengths possess not only different colors, but different properties. Blue light scatters easily, NASA writes, when it comes in contact with the atmosphere, which is why the sky appears blue during the daytime. As the Earth passes between the sun and the moon, red light from our star, which moves at a more direct and lower velocity, penetrates Earth's atmosphere at a shallow angle and is cast on the moon in red. The difference between a total and partial lunar eclipse is that in the former case, the moon will pass into the deepest part of Earth's shadow, known in eclipse jargon as the umbra, and the moment of totality. The sun, earth, moon will be in perfect alignment with the shadow from the light of the former falling over the latter. 32 minutes either side of totality, the moon will still be in Earth's shadow, but not perfectly centered. And while still appearing orange-red, the deepest red coloration won't be seen, sometimes that as close as the moon will get to the umbra. And in this case, it's known as a partial lunar eclipse. This eclipse was viewed all across North America, Central America, and the western parts of South America, Australia, New Zealand, and Eastern Asia were also able to view it. How cool is that? Let's talk about singers. I'll tell you, singing. Who knew? Older male whales are more successful at mating because they're better singers. Wow, that's fascinating. Older male whales are more successful at mating than their younger rivals because they are better singers, suggests new research. The older singing whales are increasingly successful at birthing offspring compared to younger males, with the findings suggesting that the humpbacks may need time to learn and refine their singing and competitive tactics, giving experienced males a clear advantage. I wonder if that works in the human world too. Not sure. I'll have to ask my husband to sing. Research believe that as the whale population recovers after centuries of being hunted, females may also have become more selective, which could lead to greater success among males with favorable traits or their strongest performance. That is a pretty cool story. Whales are kind of interesting. Well, here's a interesting story. A rare Pokemon card that cost $2 sells for $40,000. Man, I wish I had one of these. An ultra rare Pokemon card that cost $2.99 just sold for a whopping $40,000 at auction. The first edition shadowless base set Scheherazade card is known as the Holy Grail to collectors and enthusiasts across, according to Hanson's auctioneers. The mint condition card went under the hammer as part of the UK's largest ever sale of Pokemon cards. To celebrate the 30th anniversary of the Japanese multimedia franchise that captured the imagination of children and adults around the world, back in 1999, you could buy a pack of 11 Pokemon cards at any Woolworths for between $1.50 and $2. A Charizard was the rarest holographic in base set, so pulling one from a pack was like winning a mini lottery. David Wilson Turner, who said 30 years on, Pokemon is undergoing a huge resurgence. Only 4,000 to 10,000 cards were produced, most of which were played with and are now dog-eared. So to find one in mint condition like this one, which has a grading of 9 out of 10, makes it all the rarer. How cool is that? Prices of these cards can really ramp up. All right. Well, now we have our hero story of the day. And this time it's about a company. Yes, it's about a company who hires people who have disabilities, and they've been doing it for over 20 years. Yes, they're not doing it just because somebody said it's a good idea. They're doing it because they know it's right. So we may need to allow our flame for Yankee candles to burn out now that we've learned about this New Jersey small business that gives back to their community in life-changing ways. For over 20 years, the small family-owned candle company has provided meaningful employment for adults with special needs, hiring them to place the wicks inside their delicious smelling candles. Founded in 1991, A Cheerful Giver now sells to thousands of retail stores nationwide and has built a loyal following on Amazon.com. And for decades, their commitment to inclusive employment has never wavered. These team members place their wicks in every candle we pour, said the owners Tony and Susan Gross. They're the heart of our operation. How much they work is entirely up to them. There's no pressure, no quotas, just purposeful employment and the pride that comes with being part of something real. New Jersey nonprofit founded by a group of loving parents 55 years ago to develop ways for young adults with disabilities to find work, vocational training, and housing. So these employees came through the Career Opportunity Development Incorporated. Located outside of Atlantic City in Egg Harbor, Coady workers are employed in a number of different fields and get competitive wages that support their independence. Each day, they work as little as a few minutes or as long as 6 hours. All of our wickers bring home a paycheck each day for all they've accomplished, building a sense of pride and purpose. Another amazing business, Car Wash, hires all autistic staff to wash away barriers. So when you buy a Cheerful Giver candle, you're supporting a workplace that has given differently abled individuals the opportunity to contribute, earn, and belong. Available in 3 sizes, every candle is hand poured with premium paraffin wax, delivering a powerful scent throw that has made a Cheerful Giver so popular, and they ship their products all over the world. I was a Yankee Candle zealot until I tried A Cheerful Giver, said one fan. The scent throw is unmatched. I can smell it throughout my entire house. But what makes the company stand out isn't just how the candles perform, it's who makes them. But at Cheerful Giver, we are more than just another candle. We are a proud American company that makes our own products and gives back to ensure we are making a difference in the lives of others. Well, if that isn't good news, I don't know what is. Thank you so much for being here tonight, watching the Good News Show. I'm so grateful you're here. And now the good news on the New Thought Media Network. We'll be back again next Friday, same time, same channel. So be sure to check in with us yet again. And, if you need, you could like, share, and subscribe. Send some more people some good news. And be sure to donate to New Thought Media Network. It is a charitable organization providing good news around the world, and we're delighted to be providing this service. So if something good happens for you as a result of watching the programming here, please do send a gift to ntmedia.org. And if you just go on the website, hit the donate link, it's super, super easy. Have a wonderful Friday. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next week. Bye for now.